So when signing day rolls around for college football, you look at all the players that your favorite school signed. In this case, we're talking about LSU, obviously. And you start thinking about those skill sets and those talents, and you wonder, okay, what could this guy do? What impact could this guy have? And you're generally going to be on the optimistic side of that on signing day, right? Well, I want to talk about one guy, what I saw today, what I've really seen for 3 weeks, and what I expect to see this year relative to what we thought when he signed. It's Tradez Green. Because today, I'm out at practice, and I'm watching Tradez Green, and I'm going, this is the dude that everybody was talking about when he was a senior in high school. This is the dude who is going to be a significant problem for defenses to deal with, whether that's in the middle of the field, whether that's on third downs, and certainly whether or not that's in the red zone. Because Tradez Green was everywhere today. And in this segment, where I generally just talk about everything I saw at practice, I'm just going to talk about what I saw from Tradez Green at practice. Because it wasn't like, oh, there's that one highlight reel catch. It was consistent dominance over the course of an hour and 20 minutes when we were out there. It started in the indoor. LSU was running on an 11-man defense. And keep in mind, nobody's got shoulder pads on. Nobody's got leg pads on. This was just a helmet practice day. But they're running down in the red zone, and Tradez Green runs kind of a slant in-breaking route with the line of scrimmage right about the 10-yard line. And Harold Perkins is covering him. And Garrett Nussmeier throws the ball towards the goalpost, and it kind of looks like it's going to be wide and be incomplete. And the best way I know to describe it, maybe it's because I've got a 3-year-old at home, maybe it's because I'm channeling my 5-year-old self. The best way I know to describe this catch was Tradez Green went go-go gadget arms, and his arms went like an hour and a half forward and caught the ball. And as I watched this play, which was a rare like highlight reel play in practice that we see, we don't see a ton of those. I'm thinking to myself, okay, I've got the roster in front of me, and Harold Perkins is listed at 6'1", 220, and he's as good an athlete as there is on defense in college football. And he's one of the guys, that type of player that another team would theoretically put on Tradez Green. He's a tight end, so maybe a linebacker could cover him or be asked to do that, right? And in this case, a freakish athlete at linebacker is running stride for stride with Tradez Green. Harold Perkins can run with Tradez Green, no problem. Stride for stride, right there in the end zone. But Nussmeier puts the ball out beyond where Harold Perkins can reach. He's limited in what he could do there at 6'1". But Tradez Green is 6'7", and his arms are twice as long as Harold Perkins. So while they're running stride for stride, he just reaches up and grabs it. I don't know what you're supposed to do if you're Harold Perkins in that situation, except be 2 steps in front of him. And that's exactly the point that we make when we talk about Tradez Green, saying like, they just don't have anyone on that side of the ball, meaning the defense, with a skill set even close to Tradez Green. No one that is 6'7" plays defense unless they're on the edge, and generally speaking, that doesn't even happen either. So you don't have anybody his size. Well, you can try to out-physical him, and that's generally going to come from a linebacker, but you know, Tradez Green is 240 pounds. And there comes a point in time in the route when he gets beyond the line of scrimmage where you can't be that physical with him, or it's a penalty. So now you have to line up and just be as good an athlete of him. And no one on the defense is as good an athlete as Tradez Green. And this is one catch I'm talking about, but it continued. He went outside, literally, not outside in the formation, literally outside for practice, and we got into some red zone periods and got into some 11-on-11s and some 2 minutes. And he's just making catches like down the sideline where I'm just not sure what the defensive back's supposed to do. The only time I charted a Tradez Green incompletion today with the defense out there, DJ Pickett was on him. And that's really the only shot you've got because LSU happens to have the only 6'5" corner I know of in college football. There's probably another one.
I was going to say DJ Pickett's the only guy that would really have a chance against him.
He's 6'5", 195, and Pickett did force an incompletion. I'm pretty confident there would have been a pass interference flag thrown, but I'm glad Pickett was in there mixing it up with him, but still. And I go back to last week. I'm out there at practice, and as the offense is going, I'm on the right sideline. And Garrett Nussmeier takes a snap. It's 7-on-7. He pulls to the right, throws it out towards the right sideline towards me. And I realize how high it is because it's like in my general direction. And my neck kind of cranes upward to look, and there goes Tradez just flying through the air and catches it on the sideline.
Hunt, this was credit to T-Pal in the chat. You missed a perfect opportunity for a Space Jam reference with Michael Jordan's arm stretching out.
Would have been very good. Similar thing. I've watched that 437 times. Not sure how I don't get to that.
Yeah.
But I went Inspector Gadget. Either way, freakish is the way you would describe Tradez Green at this point. And Bauer Sharp is playing well. He had a nice diving catch today. We talked to Joe Sloan back on Friday about Bauer Sharp, talked about his physicality at the line of scrimmage and the edge that he brings to practice each and every day. But what you're seeing with Tradez Green, who, by the way, was a basketball player until about 4 years ago. What you're seeing now is a guy who's starting to understand how to get off the line of scrimmage, starting to understand how to run routes, and now Garrett Nussmeier is figuring out where to put the ball to get it to him. And that's a different place than you would put the ball to throw it to Aaron Anderson. It's a different place than you would throw it to Xavion Thomas. It's a different place than you would throw it to Berrien Brown. The catch radius here is way different than everybody else in that pass catching group. And Nussmeier's starting to figure that out. And it's something that you would have immediately said when LSU got him signed. You're going, oh, this dude's a basketball player who's 6'7". Like, wow, he's going to be really difficult to deal with. And last year, like, in the first home game, LSU threw Tradez Green a touchdown pass. He caught one against Ole Miss over the middle. And then you saw him catch two in the bowl game. One was a nice catch in the back of the end zone where Nussmeier threw it high. One was just a wide open throwback screen. But this is going to be a problem for defenses. They can't just treat Tradez Green like a normal tight end. They can't treat him like a normal slot receiver because you have to realize that the guy that you've put on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage from Tradez Green is at a significant matchup disadvantage no matter who it is in all of college football. And that just stuck out to me today as I was watching him make plays. Now, again, it's not 11-on-11 tackling. No one's got shoulder pads on, and I realize that can be somewhat of just an athletic competition, kind of like a combine, when you take a little bit of the physicality out of the game. And physicality is the one thing that Tradez Green's going to have to learn. He can always be tall, run, and jump, and physicality is something he's got to learn and got to get better at. But he is, and he's put on weight since he got to campus. And now that Mason Taylor has moved on, keep in mind, Mason Taylor played triple, quadruple almost the snaps that Tradez Green played last year for good reason. Mason Taylor's an awesome player, most productive tight end in school history. I'm not suggesting they should have taken Mason Taylor off the field. What I am suggesting is that he didn't get thrust into action last year, and now he's a year older, a year more mature, a year with more understanding of how to play the position. He's got a new position coach in Alex Atkins, and I think you're going to see an explosion this year from Tradez Green. Explosion. I think he can catch 10 or 12 touchdowns. I don't think that's ridiculous. Because of what I watched today, what I saw last week, and the amount of snaps he figures to get. I don't think he's going to go for 950 yards, but I think he's going to make impactful catches on third downs and in the red area because Garrett Nussmeier is starting to figure out, oh, I can throw it places to this guy that defenses can't really deal with. And I thought, as I mentioned right off the bat, the perfect illustration of that is as athletic a 6'1" defender as there is in college football, with speed, with some physicality, had no match for Tradez Green in the end zone today. They're working on throwback screens to him. They're working on middle screens to him. They're working him in the red zone. They're throwing some jump balls to him. That's the one Pickett got in the way of. They're going to start featuring Tradez Green. And it is going to be a huge, huge piece to this offense. Again, not 1,000 yards worth, but touchdown plays, money plays on third down. Tradez Green is going to be a huge, huge problem for people to deal with this year. And again, I wanted to immediately highlight that out of today's show before we got into the rest of practice. I got injury reports. I've got 11 on 11 stuff. I've got some special teams we can talk about. I saw a lot at practice today, but nothing to me was as impactful as standing there watching Tradez Green. And this is going to be a little bit of hyperbole, so don't take it literally, but in this vein, those couple of plays felt like Malik Neighbors a little bit leading up to 2023, where I was watching Malik Neighbors high point balls in the end zone and just moss defenders just dominate with Jaden Daniels. And you saw the result of that in 2023 was just dominance. And I think there are going to be times where Tradez Green is dominant this year in his sophomore season at LSU. So, hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.